Hello everyone. How are you today? Oh, I'm pretty loud, I think. So I'm drawing myself a bit down. Nice that you joined me all together. I hope I be clear and you can hear me. I'm just make a short test. Yeah, I hear myself. That is perfect. Very good. And how are you all together? So, what I would like to do today is to give a short introduction into Dart Koans, I thought, and make a short live coding and also just chatting session where I just explain something, talk about everything, maybe doing something what the chat has in mind. So whenever you have any ideas, please let me know. And yeah, it was more or less like last week where we just have a casual session where I don't have any, not so much prepared. We are just talking about different stuff. And I'm really looking forward to it because to be honest, this is the best session of the week because I don't have to care about so much about videos. They are all outside of the week and we have full time to just try a bit around and playing around with our code. Perfect. Yeah, Flow of Truth gave me already an information that somehow my stream was again not set up correctly. I hope this has changed now and also that the video description was overwritten twice. So let's see how it works out today. Okay, so I would like to start with a Koan. Hey Amar, nice to see you around. How are you? So, hey Mahtab, nice to see you. Cool. So what is a Koan actually? So if we search in our Google and search for a development Koan, we will find very interesting things because there are existing ones. Or Koan tutorials maybe. Hey Mohammed. And a Koan is actually a training session and it's coming from a Chinese speech, I think. And the cool thing is about a Koan that you can learn a programming language with writing actual code and running tests. And I think the famous Koan is one of the Python Koan. I'm jumping just around. I think I have added the links down here. So for example, the Python Koans where I had the idea from. And the Python Koans were, when I started to learn Python myself, very helpful. And because, or what it does is it tells a story where you think about different stages of development processes. Like for example, strings. So how can I use a string? How can I work with that? How can I work with generators? What is a constructor? How to set up classes and so on. And the cool thing about this is, so I have to show, perfect. The perfect thing about that is you learn that inside of a test. So you write a test, you fix a test, and with that you receive again knowledge about how does this stuff perform, and you learn how the language is working. And that is pretty cool. And there was also already a Dart Koan existent from Buttermat. He created the Dart Koans first, I think, or one of them. And as you can see, it's pretty outdated with 7 years, 8 years, and so on. And that looks, especially in the pubspec.yaml, you see the SDK version is 1.7 and so on. And so I decided, yep, why not creating my own Koan for that. The cool thing about the Python Koans that I linked here is that they had a build runner. So that means you had you can tell a story for how you want to learn the language. So at the moment, if you take a look into the project that I created already, I started and said, okay, we don't actually need a runner. Hey Daniel, nice to see you again. How are you? So the idea was, okay, we don't maybe need actually a runner for them, right? We can learn the language by just running through the tests, reading maybe the comments like here, let's get started, this is a comment. So you learn how comments work and you get through the different lessons, right? So you learn how TDD works, test-driven development. And then you can see, for example, the different groups. Can you send the link to the project? Oh yeah, sure, that's a good idea. So the project that I created at the moment is here. Voila. And yeah, the other one are empty at the moment. So the idea is now that we have like testings running, right? And I learn very basic, like for example, should expect true, right? So I learn what a test is by fixing a test. So what a training people should do is now running just pub I think pub run or pub test. No, okay, pub run, and then we say test and giving, for example, chapter 1 about tests. And now all the tests are running through. The cool thing is now, of course, I see all the failing tests, but one of the problems is already it's very verbose. You see, I have to scroll a lot of stuff till I'm getting to the point what I want to do actually. So for example, replace the word false with true is the hint. So my student or whoever comes to the Koan can now change that false here to true and fix with that the test, but he has to run it again in the console, and this is very tedious, right? So he has to do it one by one. But the cool thing is I can give like feedback and they get directly to know the language inside of tests, right? So that is the general idea from a Koan. So I started to think since last week how we can improve that process a bit. Because as I said, I would like to have a runner that runs all the tests in a sequence. Yeah. So at the moment, all the tests are running like in different ways. Sometimes the test of chapter 1 is first. Sometimes the test of chapter 2 is first. And it would be great that we just say something like Dart run. And if we say Dart run, we get a watcher who watches above the files and then runs the tests whenever we want. And first of all, I thought, okay, maybe I can work with the test Dart file here and go into test core and change all that stuff. But as you say, it is quite complex and it's also hard to understand. And it's also very, how do you call it, if you can't access everything and change everything. So it is very strict with its rules how the tests are working. And that was one option. Then I thought, okay, I can run my own or write my own tester, but I was not so much firm of that and I was not so happy to create a whole tester for that. And what I saw now in the Python Koans, inside of the Python Koans, I found something very special, something interesting. They write their Koans inside of a real file or a real application at the end. So all of them are not part of a test, they are part of a file. So for example, if we take a look into the strings, let's take this one, into the strings, you can see they are all definitions, and what they are doing, they are asserting. So that means if one of the tests is failing, they maybe show it in a console, or for example. So that would mean for the project that we have at the moment that we would not have tests everywhere with group. We would write rather something like a real lib file that we could call, for example, chapter 1 about asserts tests.dart. And now we could have a method that does something, right? So for example, assert or what was the first test that we want? We want to have the comments, and after that we just have this part. So we could take that. Oops, sorry. Here we go. And what I could do is create an assertion for that. So we write a test, for example, should expect true. And inside of here we have also the assert words. And the assert is nothing else than a true-false check. And if this happens and something wrong happens, it will throw an error. And with that, we can now work and could say something like, okay, we want to assert that true is false, which is of course false. And with that, this should fail here in that area. And if this is failing, we could catch that and make, for example, a console log. That was the idea from my side. So now it's your turn. What do you think about the Koan's idea? What do you think about the idea with the assertions and with the build runner? Or would you say you would never use something like a Koan? In the meantime, I can drink one of my nice cup of coffees. Maybe to a bit of background story in the meantime. I used these Koans already in some training sessions with developers and companies, and they were always absolutely stunned how easy it is to learn a new language, because that is not only accessible for Python, that is also accessible, for example, C# and so on. So you find a lot of different Koans in different languages, and with that it's really easier to learn. So I think the initial one was the Ruby Koans that you can also find here. And it's also like all the different abouts and arrays and all the different kinds of stuff that you can learn. Okay, so I would say if there are no questions and nothing, I would just start coding if you are happy. So I will just try to improve our current state of these Koans at the moment. But we can also take something else if you have a better idea, or if you want to see something else. Maybe you are more Flutter interested today, then I can also do that. So it's all up to you guys. Okay, yeah, I will just start somewhere. And let me think, how can we do that? So the first thing that I would like is I will just transfer first all these tests into my main file that we have here, into that lib file, and then, well, let's see how it works. So void, is that a good idea that I write them all down now? Where can we start? All right, so yeah, testing in Flutter is also a bit special because you can pump the widgets, right? That is especially interesting. But I think for the Koans, it would be just Dart testing. And yeah, so that would be one option. So what I would like to do is I want to double check the assert here in the Dart language, just to make sure that I understand it completely correct. So I will go to the language tour and search for assert. And here we go. And take a short read. So during the development, use an assert statement with a condition and an optional message to disrupt normal execution if a Boolean condition is false. You can find examples of assert statements throughout this tour. Here are some more. So, you see, we have to even check in the beginning of that thing. So we make assert text unequals 0, for example, which gives false and would fail at the end. That is perfect. And then we could give in the second sentence, we could give more information about what is going on or why it is broken in that area. Can be expression that resolves a Boolean variable if the expression value is true. The assertion succeeds and the execution continues if it's false. All right, so let's try that out. We have now in our lib folder, this should expect true. And I want to go to the main file and just want to call this method here. I have to import that. Yep, here we go. And as you see, I'm working today a bit more with Visual Studio Code. It is just because I want to try it a bit out, if I can work with that the same way. And if you want to have it in Android Studio, I can also open up that one. So let's see. Oops, I have to pub that whole thing. No. Pub run and then bin main. Yeah, here we go. Hello world 42. Well, this is this calculation, right? So, and what I would like to do is I want to have that assertion. And this assert is true. True is always true, which, so this should fail. And I just want to see how the assertion behaves, right? So assert is always used in passive programming styling. So for example, if you have here parameters like, for example, a Boolean left, and it should be always true, then we can do something like, okay, we assert, for example, that left is, for example, never null. And now we can be sure as from this point on that left will be never null, and so we can work with that much easier, and we can be absolutely sure that this will work. So all future developers who would use that should expect true can be sure that a left will be always true, and with that they will get recognized if they make something wrong. So this is the main idea of these assert statements actually. Okay, but we want to do something else, right? We want to have here, for example, true, unequal, false, which is a basic test, which will be always false, right? But our training or our trainees should learn how to use our tests. And the idea is that they have to change one of these two, right? So what we could do, and I'm not sure, I think I did that then later, I added a variable called your answer. And this your answer gave the possibility to, or informed them that they should do something. So for example, if we have here, for example, your answer, and would create here a variable that is null for now, then it would mean that null is unequal to true, and it would fail with a message here. Okay, so which message do we want to give? I think I removed that, unfortunately. Okay, I can take this one, and I will take exactly this hint here at the moment, just to try it out. No, sorry. So, and with that we have the assertion. We test it now, and then we will see if we make a mistake or not. So let's run the whole thing again. Nothing happens still. How could I see if something is wrong? Because actually this one should fail, right? So we should see an error message somewhere. Do I have to try catch that one? I'm not sure here. So let's try that. Have you ever, have you seen that try catch already, or should I explain it if I'm on it? So, and let's see if we get an error message. No, still not. So it seems to be okay that null is unequal to true. Or do we have to do something that the assertion works? That depends on the tools and frameworks you are using. Flutter enables assertion in debug mode. Development-only tools such as Dart. All right, so they are not enabled by default. Such as Dart, Dart2JS support assertion through the command line. All right, maybe I should add this one. And we will see more. Nope, still not. Interesting. In production code, assertions are ignored. Okay, so we have to make sure that our application is always running in a certain state. Okay, so maybe assert is not the best solution for our problem, right? Even though that Python does it this way, but maybe for us it's not the assert. Maybe we really have to write exceptions for the whole thing. So let me take a look. If we take a look into about asserts, they really write assert true, for example. Or can I force that somehow? I'm a bit confused that enable asserts does not work. Do I have to make it like pub enable asserts? No, that doesn't seem to run. And the last thing that I can try is pub run and then enable. Pub run enable asserts. Enable asserts, yeah. And then we specify where the path is. And let's see. No, still not. All right, so that's weird. So how can I activate the enable asserts? Common command line options for Dart include enable asserts. Null is not null. True is so true. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Thank you for that. That would take me a while. Okay, that makes absolutely sense. So we want to actually say something like this, of course. So let's see if we fail this time. Yep, here we go. So hint replace, we get the failed assertion, and at the moment we just print that, or is it happening as a complete broken text? So this is the next thing that I would like to test. So if we just do this, thank you, James. Completely didn't see it. Is the font size big enough? I can just increase that a little bit, so maybe it's easier to read. And what I also can say is we can see now that we really get an exception if something happens like this, right? So replace the word false with true makes, of course, not so much sense anymore, because the hint should be something better, right? So the hint should be, in that case, your answer is not true, for example. Yep. Your answer is not true. So the only thing that I could imagine that someone makes wrong now is that someone instead of your answer would just enter here true. But that will be gone with the future things, I think. Cool. Okay, so this is a plain test now, right? So we have exactly the same behavior like in the test. So the next step would be that we have something like a terminal. So my idea is that we really can just execute something and we get it in different terminals. For example, a possibility to, hey Samet, nice to see you again. My idea is that we create, for example, an own terminal instance somehow and see inside there the story that we want to tell. So for example, hey, you will think now about Dart, and then you should think about should expect true, for example. And after that, we want to wait till something changes in the file system, and then we rerun more or less this Dart application in the Dart console. So that would be my favorite solution here. And maybe I can show you also the Python one, just to give you a short intro how there looks like, because that is really fantastic if you are interested. So just to give you an example and an idea how these Koans actually work in the end. So I just export that repository and I also share it in the chat with you. Then you can see it for yourself. So, and I open that in a new window. I hope I have Python installed on that machine, so I have no idea. But you can see here, for example, they just run Python free b contemplate Koans or something. But at the end, this is a terminal execution, right? So they can just say in a terminal, you go here inside and say something like run sh. First have to go to Python free. And then you say /run sh. And you can see you get also a build runner. And in that case, we get an error here. So thinking about asserts, some test has damaged your comma. And that's pretty cool, right? So you get a non-verbose thing. You can have, like, for example, a small idea, maybe give some more print things. And you also can see something like how much you have already completed. And you can see, okay, so you have 302 Koans to go with before you are finished with the task here. And yeah, that's about the idea. So, but back to ours. Whoops, I closed everything. That was a mistake. We can close this one. Okay. All right. So, but yeah, as you can see in Python, they have created different files. For example, a bat file for Windows and an sh file for Linux and for Mac. But I have a better option, because what I saw the last time is that there is already a Dart terminal existent. So, oops, we go to pub.dev. And if we take a look and search for Dart terminal, we hopefully find the package from our Dart console from Tim Sneeve. Hey, Don. Yeah, sure. Go for it. So the Dart terminal from Tim Sneeve is a pretty interesting library, because the idea here is creating a possibility to run in every environment terminal, right? So you can see that it should support macOS, Linux, and Windows 10, and everything inside you can do something like this here. And I was pretty excited by this, and I also tried a bit around. So for example, I created the the example here. And there is an open issue that the example does not work. So I created a pull request and fixed that one. And so I started a bit to take a look into the Dart console inside. So I also add that one as a link. But now, Done, what is your question? How can I help you? Yep. Maybe we should also create a class for all these different methods, right? That is inside here, or else it's getting a bit cluttering at the end. I think that makes sense. Oh yeah, sure, there are enough packages for that. Hey Imran, nice to see you around. So Done, there are a lot of tons of packages for AdMob inside of Flutter. So you just go to pub.dev and on pub, well, I should maybe work here. So you go to pub.dev and search just for AdMob, and I think there are tons and tons of different ones. But I think the two that you are searching for and that I would recommend you is one, the Firebase AdMob, if you want to use Firebase in your application. And the other one should be the AdMob Flutter. And both of them are developed by the, is it this one? Not sure. Flutter native AdMob, where's the one? Yeah, but you see there are a lot of packages, and one of them is even inside of inside of the Flutter packages within. So it is a Flutter plugin from the Google team. So I would highly recommend to take that one. I think they are pretty standard and they are far ahead with these things. Cool. But back to our problem, right? So we want to include this Dart console, or at least I want to do that, because I think that would be a pretty fantastic solution that we can just say something like main.run, and no matter in which environment we are running exactly the same code, we get the same information, and we are just running that. I think that would be fantastic. So for that, we would have to, I think we can remove that for now. So for that, we would like to have that inside of our pubspec.yaml. And as you see, I already have a def dependency inside. It's patentic, which is just for our analysis options that we see the a lot of issues here. If I'm making something terrible wrong, that I directly get an information, which I always do inside of the new packages. And the other one is the test framework and the SDK. But now we have a new dependency. And the new dependency would be this Dart console, and I am not sure where I can find the Dart console. Let's have a look. Here we go. Installing, and here we go. Whoop, and edit. And the other thing is that I would like to have in the future is, instead of the Python one, you have to execute it every time yourself, right? So you go there, you go to the terminal, you start the app again, you run it, and then after that, it's gone. But what I would like to have is a watcher maybe, and I don't know if this is feasible or not, but what I would like is that someone is changing the lib file here and is changing, for example, your answer to true. Then I would like that the watcher is starting automatically to run again the application and enters this stuff, and it's working after that. So that would be great, but I'm not sure if this is feasible, but it is something that I would like to see. So the thing is, here we have a watcher, and I was this week, I think on Wednesday or something, I searched for this solution that we have a file watching system. And yeah, I found that one, and where I found it was in the build runner. Is it the build runner? I think it is the build runner. And the build runner is pretty well known because it is the code generator, right? Or is it build? I don't know the name anymore, but I found it inside there. And that was pretty fantastic to see which packages, the build runner. Yeah. So the build runner depends on that. And how did I find out? Because I knew that the build runner has the watch method, right? So to watch all the other stuff. So I jumped inside and take a look into the, where is it? The build runner, and then the package.yaml, pubspec.yaml. And inside of here, you can see there are pretty much a lot of stuff inside, but one of them was the watcher. And that was pretty cool. And so I thought I can bring that also here into it. so that you have seen it too, how I identify some packages. Okay, but back to pub.dev. We want to have the watcher that is here, and we install that one. And then we have to take a look how it works actually, because as you see, the README is pretty empty. But it monitors changes to contents of directories and send notifications. So it is really that what we want to use at the end. So back to our pubspec.yaml, adding the watcher here. And voila, I think that should be it. So as always, pub.get, and that's it. So let's see if we find an example here. And we have the watch.dart, luckily. And here we can see, I make that a bit bigger. And here we can see that, hey Amish, nice to see you. So we have here a main.dart, which has no arguments, that is fine. And now we just say directory watcher p absolute arguments. So we know exactly which directory we want to watch, right? So we can just execute this part and then we can rerun whatever we want to rerun. So I don't know if this is working, but we will want to test that today. Or I will test that with you today. Okay, so back to our nice little Koans file and in our main.dart. And here I want to initialize this watcher, and the watcher should have a directory watcher. Yes, because we want to watch the lib file or lib folder. And this one is going at the moment to p absolute, and I think that is the path, right? If I'm right, so yeah, exactly. So they import the path library with p and say they want the absolute path of argument 0, and argument 0 is a list of strings. So someone enters pub.run main and then giving the arguments inside. And what I want to do is I will use, of course, the path library here too. And as you see in the pubspec.yaml, we have that already. So it was commented out, if you remember. And now if I'm going up here again in the main.dart, we want to have p.absolute. And I don't know if there is a better option for that, because absolute paths has a problem with the future development, right? So if we work with absolute paths and I'm in Mac OS and someone else is in Windows, it will not work the same way. So I'm not sure if absolute will be good enough. So base path, directory equals hash is relative. A relative path would be amazing. Here. Would I choose? Oh, I prepare right now a state management tutorial, or better, a state management presentation, where I exactly want to try to cover these parts. Block versus Redux, both have their benefits, right? So the problem is where you come from and what do you want to achieve. I would highly recommend you take that what is the less hassle for yourself. So if you know Block or Redux, go for it. Redux has some very good patterns from before, so they know, for example, single store pattern. I really like that. Block, you have to do much more yourself, but it is coming more from the NGRX side. So if you are more the Angular developer beforehand, then Block is maybe the right tool for you. And there are plenty of things outside, right? So for example, Luke Piketty and Groove and Chip had last time a live stream about a very interesting package, State Provider was it, I think. That was fantastic to watch at. And MobX is still a library that you can use. Provider is always a library that you can use. So there are plenty, Dona. So hard to tell you which is the correct one. You have just to decide which is one that you like. And then I highly recommend you stick with it. Don't jump around, just take one and stick with it. I think that would be the best advice that I can give you. Okay, so now we have our watcher. I added now the lib folder with this ... I hope this works that way. So what I want to do is we are in the main path, and from here we go one file up and go into the lib path, and watches did one. Not sure if this will work, but no worries, Donna. That's perfect. Cool. So I checked the events. This is a stream, most likely. Streams of changes, exactly, from watch event. So event is a watch event. and it will explain me what has changed, I think. Or so event.path. There we get the file that has changed. Okay, but actually we would not need that. I want to try that now. So how can we do that? We have to run again the main.dart. Of course we get an unhandled exception, but what happens if I just run it? I didn't save it. Okay, so try it again. Directory listing failed. Oh, okay. OS error, no such file or directory. Okay, so that is a problem because it could be that we are already inside of the main folder where we execute the file, right? So if I run that again, what happens now? Okay, now it seems like it is stuck. So let us have a look and try to change this one. So we change that to true equals true. And as you can see, we get now that the file chapter 1 about asserts test has changed. And that is exactly what I wanted. That is fantastic. The only problem is that I can imagine is that this will not automatically retrigger. And this is the next test that I want to do. So instead of printing an event, I want to execute now whatever is in chapter 1. So we go here, oops, sorry, that one. We say should accept true, and we go to the main.dart, and whenever something has changed, we want to execute this method. And the problem here will be that it most likely will fail, right? So we have to make a try-catch surrounding it. Hopefully that will work. And say something like print E, but don't fail completely. Because if we jump completely outside, it would crash the stream here and we wouldn't see anything in the future. Okay, so I cancel that one. I ask again. And now we can see we are still working on it. And what I will do is I want to print something like the watcher is active. So just that we know that we really watch the different files. Cool. So we didn't broke, we watch actually for different files. And now I want to do something like true equals true. And you can see perfectly, we get exactly the change. It works like I expected. That is fantastic. But the problem is, it doesn't work like I expected. Sad. That's a shame. Okay. If I make true equals true, no, it doesn't do it. Most likely because that happens to compile time. So what I would need to do is instead of directly have the dependency to that file, I would need to make that a variable dependency. I don't know if this is possible even. So we actually have to rerun all the time instead of having the watcher. Do we? What could we change here? I think there is no possibility to do that, right? That's sad. I was really convinced that it would be a good solution. So catch E and we make a print of E. And what we also want to do is this one has to execute it beforehand just to see what result we have in the beginning. And this one comes in front. Voila. Okay, so we run it again. The watcher is active. This one seems to be true at the moment. Yep. Okay, so we make it false. Yeah, nothing happens. Okay. Okay, so that leads to a problem. Okay, guys, so we watched how the watcher is working, but unfortunately it will not work for our solution because I think the whole should expect true is already loaded inside of the Dart components that are built together to run the app. Okay, but that's good enough if we have tested that, right? So it is something, we know that now. And in the future, if you want to build your own watcher for files, you can do that. Okay, so, but for us, I would like to have still some console that I can start up. And then we want to make the different tests where I can enter something. Or do we want to have that inside of the console down here? So that we have that enable assert spin main.dart. I think that is too much to show everyone. How could we do that? So instead of having a direct dependency to this, we could have something like going away with that. And what I want to do is having the console open, right? So, because I said that we have the, okay. What I would like to do is open a console in Windows, Linux, or macOS. And after that, I want to execute the different chapters. That would lead that the console that we are opening up is not it's not necessarily just for Linux or macOS or something. So we don't have to write different scripts for that. Okay, so for that we have to take a look into Dart console again, and I will do that inside of pub.dev. And in pub.dev we have the Dart console. And here we installed already the console, and now I want to use one of the examples here. And as you see, we have a console that is final because it just can be one console, and then we can work with that stuff here. And what I will do is I will just copy some stuff out here, maybe the whole thing, just to see what happens. And inside of the main.dart, I would like to use that. Voila. It looks a bit ugly, but that will be in a second. So we import now Dart console, and that's already everything. So what happens here? So we set the background color of the console to blue or white. Yes, James, that is exactly what I would like to do, but I'm not sure how I can spawn the tests. Do you have an idea about that? Do you have a clue where I could do that, or how I could do that? It's a shame that it doesn't work like that, because I really would like to see that. Cool. So, but what you can see for it now is we set the background color of the console color to blue, the foreground color. So all this stuff is most likely just some ANSI information. And the cool thing is, for example, the simple demo. Cool, thank you. And what you can see is the background has changed to blue. The color of the font is white in that area. And also we can reset the color attributes. So everything that comes after that will be shown like this. Then it says something like right line and so on and so forth. And as you can see, we have a full access now to a whole bright side of colors inside of a terminal. And I'm pretty sure that if I would execute the whole thing with Dart inside of another system, it will work. So that would be fantastic. Good, but we don't actually need so much stuff, right? So like simple demo, we could have here maybe something else like Dart Koan, just to make it a bit beautiful. Background is okay, we reset, we write a line just to make a space, I think. Then we don't need all of this stuff, we don't need this stuff. The different colors, I think that is also not worth at the moment, and this can be done too. Okay, so with that, we only execute at the moment all that stuff, and you can see we make our, we show in the terminal our Dart Koans. And now let me think, open a console, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so what I can also show you is inside of the Dart Koans. Hey Flo, welcome back. Thank you once more for your information that my stream was on the wrong time. As you can see, I already created some issues, so it would be fantastic if you have some time and can add or help me with that. And as you see, that build runner is still a discussion. So it is just something that I would like to test around, because I usually use Android Studio for that. And as you can see, all the tests are just wild. Yeah, they are just going wild. And with that, we could do that a bit better. It would be fantastic if James, for example, has now a good solution, and I will take a look into that, and we'll see if we can spawn the methods inside. That would be fantastic. Hey Modran dear, how are you? And good, so we have our consoles. And now, can I execute pub is the question. So that would be interesting. Can I, that's a good question. Can I just write into the console, or can I actually do something with that? So like execute code or something. I don't know that, because I can just see writes text inside. So for example, if I write text pub run enable asserts bin main.dart, would that work? No, it would just write it out. Oh, that's even sadder. That means, can I execute even some Dart code from here? So the problem is now for me that nearly all the ideas that I had to create this build runner is now going to the ground. So I'm getting nervous now. But what do you think about the idea of Dart Koans so far? Or have you ever worked with Koans? So in the meantime, I can think about, can I actually do that? And I think it will not be possible. So that's a shame. So even that would not solve any of the issues. So that would mean that we really have to do the boring way and just say, okay, he has to execute all the time, all the tests, and then just see some information. So we could print, write here something. Maybe we can use the console to make something colorful, but we can't use it to execute something else. Ah, sad. But okay, that's all right. I mean, then we learned something. That's also good. Okay, but for our tests themselves, what I would like to do is still having the complete the whole comments section, because the comments are important just for to read. And what I will do, or what I do, is a Dart Koan. Do you know what that is, Mordredia? That is, you learn to code by solving tests in a test-driven development way. So you have a test, for example, here. And the first lection is about asserts. So how do you work in Dart, for example? And then you have like, okay, your journey begins is a print statement, you get informed, and then it expects something, for example, true is true. And then you give a hint how you can fix that test. And with that, some developers who are already developers, but in other languages, can come to that journey, start the testing and fixing them. And by fixing the tests, they learn how the language behaves. So they learn how the language is, they learn the nuances about the language, and even new developers can start with such a Koan to learn how the language behaves. And also learning how programming works, right? Because, for example, variables are in the most way the same, right? Only because sometimes you add like integer and give him a strong typing, are still the same in the whole language, right? That is pretty cool, or I like that idea usually. Good. Okay, what I will do now is I will have another look into the Python Koans, because they are my... Yeah, exactly. That is more or less the same thing that Dart Koans are about, right? So you learn to write code by trial and error with tests, exactly. So if we take a look into the Python Koans once more, I would like to see how they actually run their tests. So let's see, we have the Koans here and have, for example, about asserts. And let's start with something like that. So they have the assert true, and that's false. And now they have to fix it. And the same thing we want to have, right? So we have, do they have a class about that? Yes, they have a class surrounding that. Maybe I should do the same thing. And they have Koans. Did you know that GitHub has a new update where you can click on the variable names and you see the usages and the references and definitions? That is pretty awesome. Yeah, but for us, that would mean that I would also create classes. Why I will do that is just because I am always I always think that I'm not good enough to do everything myself. And if someone else has created already something like this, especially like that, because there are 5 contributors, people who are maybe more knowledgeable than myself, so I should believe in them somehow, or maybe have also some doubts, but that depends on how firm I am with a topic. Okay. But as you can see, we have now the class about asserts. We have a variable inside that I call your answer. But even that would make not so much sense. I think what we can do is we can assert that false equals to true. And it will, of course, fail. And we could say something like false. I didn't see your link above. Sorry for that. Did you see the link above? One can do a var spawn, await manager spawn. Okay, that sounds fantastic. I can try that. So you say var spawn equals to await. Okay, it's a future manager.spawn. What is manager? Is that yeah, it seems that this is a library, right? Spawn tester, create a method for that, create a function. Let's have a look, because I need a function here for, oops. What is going on? Here we go. So, but let's have a look. Manager. We have battery manager, push manager, sync manager. But I think they are coming all from somewhere else. Can you not post the link inside of the chat? That would be a shame. Maybe I have to check there something. Up. Okay. Anyway, just to keep by that at the moment. So we have to assert false equals true. And with that, we can now execute the about asserts that we can create. So inside of the main, we could have about asserts. Create a new about asserts. And with that, we could say then about asserts dot should expect true, for example. So that's pretty cool. And now if we run our code, we get the error here, failed the assertion, cool. But now what we want to have is a try catch actually, because I don't want that it's writing whatever it wants. So I would like that we have like console.write. Where's our console? I don't have created it yet. So we have a final console up here. Boop. Is console, check. Am I wrong? Dart console, we want to have the console and we import Dart console up here. Makes sense, makes sense. We shouldn't use the same name. Okay, and now we can use it down here. For example, set the foreground color to something that we like, or the background color, and say, I think there is a console.color or something. I have to take a look here again. Console color blue, for example. Yep, or green. Yep. And now what we can do is console.write. And now we could give some error message. So for example, you should think about expect true. And this should be red, of course. And let's see. Yes. So we get this information. And what we also could do is writing at least the error message that we receive, right? Console.write. And then we give E inside. And I tried once more quickly to search for the answer that James gave us, because it would be fantastic if we can... the IO package has that spawning. usage io.dart is executable, process management, await manager spawn. Yeah, sorry that it took me so long to just Google what you entered. Okay, so manager spawn, then Dart FMT. Running. Okay. The manager is a process manager. And what is actually what we are doing here? Okay, so we can execute Dart commands here, right? And you think we can also execute different files if they are, for example, changed? We could try that, I think. Or? Yeah, we can try that. Why not? I mean, it doesn't cost us anything, or? So let's see. First of all, I have to drink something. Sorry. Way better. Good. So we try to access the manager with the process manager. And we don't write new anymore, right? Their times are over. And what do we see? The process manager is not a variable here. The function process isn't defined. Try to import. Yep. I just swap all the time. It's just some people like more Visual Studio, some people like the other more, and I don't really care. So, oops. That's the IO package. So import package IO and io.dart as IO. I have a strong preference for customer projects. I would always use Android Studio Code or better, IntelliJ and JetBrains in a customer project because I really love their strong suite with GitHub and everything, and I don't have to. I don't know. Visual Studio Code is for me always like a big toolbox where I have to pick everything that I want to need, and then at the end I have I have my IDE like I want it, but it's not what I like. So I'm just a fanboy of JetBrains, so I think that is the problem. Okay, so, and what I want to do is having the watcher again, right? So we want to have a watcher. Where did we have the package there? I shouldn't close the tabs all the time. Doesn't help me so much. And where are we? Here inside. Had the example, watch.dart. And I think it was pretty straightforward. Yes, here we go. We add that once more. And having the watcher down here, we import the directory watcher once more and have p relative. P is not imported anymore. Import package path Dart. Yes, path. I think p is more short term. And relative to not argument 0, it would be just lib. So because it worked already that we watch the directory where we're in, right? So if I run that again, we should fail here. So what you should think about, blah, exception, okay. Why is it now? Did that broke now? I'm not sure. Let's take it out for now. Run again. Exactly. And now we are seeing that the runner is watching. We are in the lib folder. So if I change here something to true, for example, yes, we see that it's modified. So that works already. And now, yeah, exactly. The imports are sometimes a problem. There are so many, I don't know. I don't know. And also the shortcuts, if you work a long time with IntelliJ, you can't get around that stuff, even though I'm getting better. And as I said, I want to have both and I want to know both, because then I can better talk with other people. So if you have like in your team a very fanboy of Visual Studio Code and you just say, no, I don't work with you because you use that tool, that is not really a good solution, right? So you want to be as good that you can say, okay, I can work in both perfectly and I can help you also in both, right? Because that is sometimes something that people misunderstand, that we try to work together at the end in every project, right? Okay, but back to the solution of James. He said that the manager dot, there could be like await. Do we have to await? Yeah, maybe. And add the async modifier. Yep. And let me think. Now he says manager dot spawn. And what does spawn do actually? So for that I would jump inside, because it's a more difficult topic. So if I don't grasp it directly and right away, please apologize. Such stuff is always a bit difficult. So spawns a process by invoking executables with arguments. Okay, so we can just execute something. Cool. This is similar to IO process start, but all standard input output is forward routed between the process and the host, similar to how the shell script works. Returns a future. Okay. Yes. Don't I await? Yes, I await. So now I can have an executable and an argument, right? And I wait on spawn. And what I could do now is, if I watch that file, the spawn is really executing something, right? So if I have understood that right. So yeah, sure, image. So we worked on the, or I work currently on a project that I call Koans for Dart. And it's an initial idea from Matt, who created already a Dart Koan here. And that is 7 till 8 years ago. And since then, there is nothing much happened again. So I thought that it would be a good idea to create my own. And I just wanted to give an overall exception and maybe work with you together. So now the idea is, and now where we are is we want to run the different tests, for example, that should expect true, inside of our watcher. So we watch the file, and whenever something changed, we want to run something. So in that case, we could, for example, make pub run. And as an argument, we could give the, yeah, we could just create a method, I think. So for example, instead of having all that, we could just create, for example, here inside a new file. I don't have a good name right now. So maybe Dart Koans runner.dart, I don't know. And here inside we would have a method that runs. I'm creative today. So inside of runs, we would have then just execute the test here. So for example, should expect true with the about asserts. So we leave that inside, say about asserts up, and then should expect true, for example. That should fail now, but that's fine. So whenever we do that now, we make pub.run and say then inside of lib, oh, I don't know if this works. Let's see. So inside of lib chapter, we would run chapter 1 about, I don't know the name exactly, so we need a rename. Yep, got it. And let's see. Lib slash. The argument type string can't be assigned to, yeah, sure. So arguments is a list of different strings. It's not a single string. And P has an absolute path. Yeah, true. Thank you. So that would be P absolute path. And giving the path to .lib. And this would finish it. Should I? Yeah, we can just try it around and then let's see. So we have the Dart runner, and I don't even know if this should be part of that. I think it should be part of main in that case, because it in lib I would like to only have the different chapters so we can watch them or we make it inside of lib that there is like a Koans folder where we then have the different tests that we want to run. Okay, cool. So we have our runs method. We have the runs here. That would execute the libs folder. I don't know, looks promising, but could be also just a bad feeling. So let's run that whole thing. We see the test runner is running. So by that I can just print here, for example, the watcher is watching, just to give us a feeling that something is running. Yep. So now we listen to an event changing in the lib folder, for example here to true. Whoa, and then we crash. Command pub run. Okay, he tries to execute my development, Dart Koans, and then slash. Okay, cool. So that's not correct. So I have to. I could make it a relative path or not. Don't know, have to test. So we do the same thing again. And we change again something to false this time. Save the whole thing and crash again. Command pub run lib. Okay, the question is where is he from, right? We get even the file, right? So we know that it's lib. We get the file from the runner. So if we take a look here, I could also say we get the event, and the event is the file naming, right? So I could also do something like this. Path.relative and then event path. And I could even remove that because this is the path, right? Yes, exactly, James. Perfect that we are on the same page. Okay, I try again, so say true, and what happens is still failing because pub run is not possible, of course. He can't find that file. Wait, what do we actually want? We want to run this one all the time whenever something has changed in the lib folder. That is the problem. We don't want to run the lib folder. We want to run this Dart Koans runner. Get in the same pubspec.yaml is present. I think we created with this manager up here, we created, where is it? Here with this manager spawn, we create our own pub run. So that is the issue here. And I think we don't want to run the chapter 1. What we actually want to run is the Dart Koans runner. So this one, right? Because that actually runs then this stuff. And this one needs an own main method, or if we want to run it. So much questions. Let's see if this works. And I think I don't need a runs then at the end. We just have a main here. Let's see if this works. No, it's still failing. Because he tries to run the... I didn't save it. Okay, maybe this helps. So this is also a thing that I miss at Android Studio, right? You don't have to save. Cool. True. And it's still failing because he can't find the file. Maybe I have to use the path again with path relative, right? So path.relative. I just use Command X. So if you cut it out, then it's automatically away. The only problem that you have maybe with that, some people use copy and paste histories, and with that you will have that in the history. So if you don't like that, but with that you can remove very quickly lines of code. I think Command D is for duplication. No, all different, yeah, as you know. Okay, but back to here. I think if we have that now as a relative path where we call that, maybe we have luck if I change it here to false now. Unlucky, still not. So pub run Dart Koans runner. The question is, where does pub run is getting executed? Is it executed from the bin folder, or is it executed from the parent folder? So maybe you can do something like this and check it out. Ah, PVD, good question, good thinking. Yep. So we spawn manager dot spawn PVD, and this should. Why is it red? Ah, okay, cool. So and I should maybe do that outside. So outside of the watcher. How long do you think it would take for someone to gain an intermediate mastery over Flutter and Dart? Oh yeah, there are a lot of resources I can recommend. I also thought about to create a video around that topic. How long you would take? Well, to get intermediate, I would say a half a year minimum. I think you really have. I think you can create a prototype very easily. But it's always like that, so you want to have a bit more, you want to learn bigger projects, you have to learn state management, also animations is a very big topic. Till you created your own stuff, it takes a while, of course. So I would say intermediate, you can have it in half a year, or like half a year to a year. And mastery, well, I think no one ever has reached mastery in Flutter yet, besides of the Flutter pros like Rody Davis or something like that. So there, I think 2 years if you always worked with Flutter since its release or pre-alpha, then you are a master. I think myself is by far not a master. Yeah, and if you do that, then you have a big problem, exactly. Then you are lost for the next 5 years. But yeah, I think we all currently are working on that enlightenment stuff. So as you see, you can learn always something new. And today I worked with that manager the first time, which is fantastic. I didn't know that we have this possibility to access the process manager. And the watcher is also pretty cool. And I'm very happy that we tried it around together. So just enjoy the journey and get a master with the time. I think that is the best advice that I can give. And why does it not? Yeah, thank you. Cool. So let's go for that. It doesn't give something. Why not? How does a person get caught by that? Well, I think if you do something long enough, about 10 years or something, you're getting a master. And if you train other people and you have a lot of fun with the work that you do, I think then you are a master or not. Why does PVD does not work? Jeez, if I run PVD, I get my thing, but not with the spawn right now. Watcher is watching, but we are asynchronous in the main function. Do I have to print it? No, right? That's working too. Let's try it in the watcher, maybe. Let's make this to true. Modified, this is working, but we don't get the information where we are at the moment. That's funny. Never seen that before. You think so? But why do we get then the unhandled exception from the process exception? So that could, yeah, I see. Do we have more that we can give? Like, for example, a run in shell, maybe? That we just show, maybe. So run in shell and set this to true. Now I have to change again. No, didn't work. Okay, but sadly, it was a good thinking. But anywho, we want still to run this one. The problem is we don't know where we are, and it can't find the bin Dart Koans runner. Dart Koans runner.dart, right? Jeez, what do we? I tell you, my head is not there where it belongs. So here we go. Watch is running. We say true, true, and still not. Dart Koans runner Dart. Okay, and last try could be that we add the bin once more. change something to false. Yeah, pub run manager spawn pub run. Bruce, I think. You think that this is an yeah, that could be actually. But the problem is, ooh, it does something. Okay, something happened and it doesn't fail. So that's both very good things, right? But the problem is I don't see anything. So that makes it pretty hard to identify if it worked or not. So what I will do first is to try that once more and catch it, just to see if we get an error maybe. And let's try it again. Whoops. Watcher is watching. We change again to false. We modified it and nothing happens. So we don't get an error and we watch still. So, that's good. Or, I mean, we don't get an error, but now we have to identify if we can get from this manager spawn. That is where? That is the process manager. If we can get somehow the console errors somehow. Parent environment, working directory, run in shell. We have the process start mode. Maybe this helps us somehow. Normal child process. Station handles are inherited. Detached child process. No open communication channel. Inherit, maybe this one could be right because stdio. Wow. Careful. So shared std in a saver version of the default std in stream from Dart.io that allows a subscriber to cancel their subscription and then allows a new subscriber to start listening. Okay, where do I find that? Is that part of the documentation? So here we go, shared std in. That should be this one, right? Stream from Dart.io that allows a subscriber to cancel their subscription. Okay. Yeah, I think so, but maybe it's just enough if I say this inherited stdio. Use detached only. So I hope you like this working together on a problem, because I really enjoy that, because so I learn also a lot. So if you find that very boring, just tell me, then I can think about something else at the next time. Use override ANSI output. This one here. Main, right line, red wrap, bad error, wrap with important. You mean around the assertion that I have. So instead of here, you mean here in the chapter then. That I will get that around. We make this override ANSI output. Nah. Or? Usage ANSI.dart. Okay. The value ANSI output enabled by wrapping. Okay. So you mean I can just do that here in the main function, right? So I add that here. Can remove a bit of that, and ANSI will go down here. So that would be an own function that we can then call. Override ANSI output allows overriding ANSI output enabled for the code run within body. And this is running in a zone. Ooh, okay, fantastic. Now then, let's try that. But this is a... What is that false meaning? Enable unz output. So we have to make that to a true. And now it works. Is that an override method already? No. Now we are watching still, so let's try that again. Whoa. Okay, so this called somewhere. So we don't get any info, so I leave that empty for now, that we don't have to assert something. We watch again, we change again, modified something, but we don't get any information if this is now running. Ah, maybe fine. No, still not. Okay, I didn't get it yet. So what does this function do? It allows overriding unz output enabled for the code written within body. Okay, I'm not sure how this will help me, right? Because the body is just a function, so if I print here anything, I will get it just back, or? Yes, so there is nothing wildly happening. What I will do now is just searching for this manager spawn and search for output. Manager spawn. Let's see if we find something. Here we find, this is Node.js, geez. No. We stick with Dart today. So we are here again. And outputs the result via stdout. So is stdout something special about Dart? I can't imagine, because stdout would be just something that puts something in the terminal, right? So standard output, exactly. It's just a stream. Written by this program, the add error API. The question is, where does it run into? Or so for example, if we run that manager spawn, where does it create an own instance of a terminal somewhere that we can't see maybe? So a hidden instance. Include, let's say here true. Let's see what happens, because if we include the parent environment, it could be that the parent gets the information too. Make that true. We modify, make it false again. Bad state, subscriber already listening. The existing subscriber must cancel before the other is added. Okay, that makes absolutely sense. So the problem is now that this spawn has to be disposed somewhere, I think. Then catch error when complete as stream timeout. Okay. That means I have to change most likely to the other one, right? So we want to have this shared std in then at the end. To cancel their subscription and then allows a new subscriber to start listening. This default behavior where only a single listener is ever allowed in an application lifecycle. Yep. Transforms logs add. Sorry, that was my phone. Just taking a short look. Okay, nothing important. Okay, not getting nervous about. For testing, an instance of share may be created directly. Shared stint, no, that can't be that. Do I have to kill it with that exit code maybe, or? Let's see, we have this, and do I have to do something? They save it in a variable called spawn. and does spawn. We can kill it, okay. Kills the process. Okay, I don't want to kill anything, but okay, so we can listen to the output of the event and then we just print the event here. Maybe I found something that would be helpful. So this will now have an eye on if something has changed and then prints the output here. Okay, now we're coming in that bad state with the existing subscriber. So most likely what I want to do is I want to have a variable called spawn before we are here. So, and we save this spawn inside of the try. And whenever we watch the listener, we say spawn.kill. Spawn is not something, spawn is IO process. Why is it red? Because IO is not imported. Maybe we can just say process and import the IO library once more. And with that, we have that spawn. We kill the process whenever we run again. So we finish that off. Expect await group should return a process where test stdout is readable. Wow. I'm not sure James is... Don't have a clue where to start, to be frank, at the moment. I will copy that for a sec. I just want to take a look here and what to happen here. So kill was called on null. All right. Of course. So that is of course a bad idea, because whenever we start here, we first have to check. So if spawn null, null check. Don't like that. But yeah, for now. And then we can go here. Yes, so what I did now is I go to spawn stdout, I listen to that and get then my print event. The problem is at the moment that I come twice or triple inside, and then I created multiple spawns and the manager was not happy about it, so I canceled that for now. Let's see if this works. So we modify it, there comes nothing, unfortunately. We only get still a bad subscription state. With the handle of the process, so Dart Koans runner.dart, we include the parent. I don't think that we need that actually. Mode run in shell, working in directory. Okay. We listen to this td out, so that means as soon as we get something, we inform ourselves. And I actually, to make it a bit easier for now, because all that stuff is getting confusing, I just create a new main function for now and just put that stuff inside that we actually want to test. So we don't have the watcher at the moment inside, just to see if our stuff is working like we expected. It would be already beneficial if we just see that the spawn is working. So, okay, I do it with the keyboard and F1 comment, add line comment. Yeah, I think that's fine. Good. So we kill the watcher, we run again, and now something else should work. So we just see this now, and we are listening to the event, but we don't get any feedback right now. So if I make that to false, actually this assert should break, right? Wait, do I have to enable the asserts also for the runner? That means we run this, but we don't actually only run it, we also have this enable asserts here, right? Or else they will be ignored and this is not helpful. So Ah, look at that. Failed assertion. Hint, this is not true. Perfect. So we just had to add the enabled assert. Okay, that means we listen now to it, but still the problem with the runner happens. But cool. Thank you, James. I think that is exactly what we wanted to achieve, right? That's fantastic. So now we can run the different tests somewhere else, and we run it all the time whenever we do something there. So we need all that stuff, or better we can, well, I just revert now to that point where we had everything in the method down below. And here inside we not only have the run, we have also enable asserts. And this should now give us the same feature. The only problem is that the watcher is failing at the moment, I think. So if I change now into chapter 1 to true, what is happening? We modified, everything is good. If I do that again, we get our error, we get our hint, and it doesn't break anymore. Cool. Hey, did you install Xcode or only use Flutter for Android? Of course I installed Xcode. I have an app that works currently in the App Store, and oh geez, yeah, as you can see, I'm updated Flutter seconds ago, and with that we get now this, but yeah, I installed it, absolutely. Cool, but as you can see now, we get the errors. Now we can make that a bit more beautiful, of course, if something is breaking, but hey, that is absolutely fantastic. That means we can have a runner, we can actually write a story for our users, we can use the console to make it a bit more beautiful, because actually this is just, this one is running. But I'm not sure about that. Can I? So what would happen if I use the console here? So for example, I have here final console. Console, that is a console. Whoop. I import that one. And now let's say I write here something with the new foreground color in, is it console colors? Yeah. Dot green, no, red. And now I answer something in the console where I just write, for example, this is horrible wrong. So how does the ANSI std output is reacting to that? So we changed that here, we saved. And I changed that to true. Ooh, I don't know what that numbers are for, but it looks good. What are the numbers? Where comes this list of numbers from? You will hear you hear the fan. Oh, that's sad. Sorry for that. Yeah, that's a good point. I will take a look. But at the moment we don't have anything running, so it's just a stream software, I think, that is very heavy on resources. Wow. Okay, so something goes on here. Yeah, it's a byte array, but where it comes from? Do I enter that here somewhere? Or that's cool. So I can remove that and this. And now I close that one down once more just to make it white again. Std out, we print the event. And what is the event actually? That is just the error message, right? So we get here like true, true, we don't get anything. And if we make it false, we get the error. Yeah, it seems like that, but it's said that this is executed, or, I mean, with that we get some issues now, at least to make it colorful, because the print is not so colorful at the end. So, but if I do this and we catch now the whole thing, I can print just the error message. Let's see how it turns out. So true, and now we make it false. Now I'm coming into existing subscriber problem. Wow. Okay. We closed that once more. I think you saw something in that IO package, right? That shared std in. But in means I write something inside, or a safer version of the default std in. So that is something where a user enters something on their computer and they give the information into the console, right? Yeah, that could be. That could be. But okay, I mean, if we don't have it colorful, that's fine. The only problem that I see is at the moment, if I'm doing something like this, it seems that I can't use print anymore, right? Then I can use that std out maybe, or even error dot add, and then give like any information. Oh, what was the std problem here? They used the logs add. Now this is entering something inside. They make a print inside of the main. Here, stdr write line. So let's try that. Write all line, and now we give a text. So for example, error happened, giving the e inside. And what can we else have here inside? The red rep bad error. Red rep. This comes from the ANSI package, right? So I could use the ANSI package here. Maybe we can get rid of the whole binary and whole printing problem and just add this stuff. No, wait. This was down here, and what we want is red rep, and then the value. Okay. So let's see what we get as a result at the end. So we make it again true. We make it again false. And it starts to complain about the subscribers again. Maybe I have to get rid of the Dart console, actually, as sad as it sounds. But maybe this is a solution. That we don't want to have imported something of them because they maybe destroy some of the basic I/O problems. But actually I can't imagine that this is the problem. It feels wrong. False. So we get the error. But it worked already to remove these subscriptions, so that is something. The cool thing is we get now the error message. So error happened on that error part. That is cool. So that is exactly what we want for our Koans, because now if we have new developers, they know exactly where to look for. So chapter 1, that is exactly what they will read, right? So Dart Koans, okay, chapter 1 about assertions, tests. It would be, it's because of the package. But anyway, it's still pretty good to understand where we are with the error. Show the file structure. I think there is an error. File color? No. I think that is an error because as you can see, we make here an assert and this assert failed right now. And what we did is we catch that in our runner down here with the catch block. And I hope that red rep will that red rep will wrap it as an error and color it red. But what could be is that we have in our main.dart, we have down here that sprint std out listen to, and the event could have more information maybe. Instead of just saying event print, we maybe have also more like, I don't know, maybe it has also that it is an error or something. So first where, no, the event seems to be a list of something. Let us have a look. So we get a list of integers from the std out. Okay, and std error is the same, so returns the standard error stream of a process as stream. Okay, so this is std out, and std error is also something, and we can listen to that too. So print the event in that case would mean we print the error, right? Something like that. So this is a string, I assume? No. No, it's a list or a stream subscription. Listen on data. On error, on done. Ooh. Interesting. Ah, no, this was the stream. I'm sorry. Okay, let's make a short recap where we are. So what have we done? We made the Dart Koans. We wanted to understand if the watcher is working, if we can work with console. The result that we found is that the watcher is working fine, but we can't use the console for that. Thanks to James, we had the information about the manager.spawn, and manager.spawn came from the IO package. With that, we started a process somewhere else, in that case in the Dart Koans runner. We enabled the asserts, and with that, our Dart Koans runner executed the test. So for example, about asserts. And this was jumping into that lib folder, and here we have a test that checks if this is true or false, or if this is working correctly. And if it is working correctly, we don't get an error message, but if it does not, then we get an error message. And sometimes we still have this bad state. So there is a lot of stuff that we still have to figure out, but I think we solved already a lot of problems. I'm very happy with that solution. I was not sure if this will run, so bin main.dart. I think the first one don't has to be enabled asserts anymore. And that will be this. But it seems that I can't listen to both of them. Is that correct? I can't imagine. So we make that true again. And we make it false again. No, it did fail. I don't know where it comes from. And also sometimes it modifies twice. Maybe it's because of the watcher. Could that be that we have two watchers in place or something? No, that shouldn't be the problem, or? And even though we try catch that one. The best thing is if I save twice, then it's getting crazy with the error happens and give me all the byte arrays down here. Okay, it's getting closer, but still not perfect. Do you have an idea what we could do regarding to that? So instead of having all that stuff? I could just use the basic std out, right? And write that thing out. And instead of red wrap, we just, oh, why not? Can do that. So let's see, we make that false. Save again. No, we just get the error happened. That is good, but we can't have any color code yet. So the problem is that the instance that is running inside is not providing us the right colors, right? So what we could do is making something like this, maybe. On line 5, you mean inside of chapter 1? Oh, no, this is our test case, right? No, it's actually not useless because a new developer wants to learn that stuff. So that false is unequal to true is for everyone clear. But that assert is for me like a tester for our new developers. So think about how you never have seen an assert in your life. You don't know how these work. And now you want to understand that if you make here a true inside, then it says true equals true. And this one will be okay. And everything goes further. So you come to the next chapter of the learning sessions, more or less. So that is the idea behind the program. Not found red. Yeah. I made a mistake. I need the ANSI here. We can remove that one. And import this. So red rep event, but event is a list of integers. This is a list of integers. And with that print, we have a list of integers. That's why we sometimes see the byte array. And now we have to transform the byte array to string or something. That is funny. So he understands that sometimes, right? Yeah, so we get somehow. So our std out gets a list of returns the standard output. You mean inside of the Dart Koans runner? No, inside of the main.dart. You mean inside of here that I say event dot for each or something and then just print element? That could work, but to create a manager each time. I think we do that, or we have a spawn and we create every time a new. Ah, yeah, you are right, here up there. You mean to bring that one inside, right? So we wrap in a future null main, answering final new process manager. Yep. And then we create with the watcher every time a new one. Then we don't have to kill the spawn because it's anyway gone. The problem is, will it be living inside of the application further, right? Spawn detached, spawn to string, interesting. Not that we overload the RAM of our users. Let's say null equals true. So now we get all the different integers nicely aligned. But we get the first time we get an error. The question is, where comes the error from? Is it from that list now, from that spawn out? I can't imagine that more and more. So I will remove that for now. Try to add here false. Aha! Eh? Okay, but does it solve the... I think to create an error all the time, a new process manager solves already the problem with the subscription problem, right? So that is perfect. Well done. Oh no, it's still there. The existing subscriber must be cancelled. I think I have to read more about that. So let us Google that. It's because of a stream subscription. The problem is I don't know which subscription it means actually. So this will not be the problem, I think, right? Because this is the error that I write out. Ah, cool. But I actually don't need that here. Okay, the plot thickens, right? So something changes here. And thanks to that, we have now this in place. I can remove these parts, that we don't have so many dependencies. So I'm sorry if we don't finish that so fast and we have to think about everything, but I think we're coming to a better state slowly. So we get our error, we have the failure. Now we just want to have it in red line, in red color. But I think that will be not so easily possible because that here does not work with us. And this is from the IO ANSI package. So import ANSI. Yeah. Okay. But anywho, I think that's pretty cool that we managed already to reload here. That is really cool. I like that. Okay. So the cool thing is now we can actually add more chapters, right? So if I, for example, go for the next lesson that we wanted to do, so we have these expected values, and I bring them into the Koans runner. We have the about asserts, right? So we go here and add that. So we would have the next solution that is what is it? Variables, about variables, or what was the name? We will compare often values with each other. So, oops, cancel. Void compare values with each other. Now we would have all that stuff inside, and instead of an expect, we have an assert. And what we would say is, for example, like this. And then we give also the string back. And if everything is right, we could also test this one now, right? So if this is going well, then all good. If not, then not. So we copy that and say compare values with each other. If I run that, we can try to fix that. So the first one, I make just a space. We can see, okay, the first one that is failing is already there. And what is with that? Real value, expected value is 0. This should 2, so this should fail 2. Right? So if I fix that one, yes, cool. Then we come to the next error. So that means now our user has a real journey that he can do. So for example, we have here a false to true. We get the error message, hey, this is not true yet. So if we make that true and everything works, then we jump to the next error that we can fix now. So if I say now, for example, I add here to 2, then we can see everything works. And if this is the case and there is no error, we should have more like, hey, success, you did it well or something. But I think that is already pretty cool. But I'm not happy with that bad state at the moment because I don't know where it comes from. So it needs to be some event that we are listening to. And I think it is the listen of the watcher here. So we're coming here and, but no, that can't be, right? We listen to that. We wait for this, but there's nothing else happening. A compile error? Yeah, with pleasure. A compile error. Void compile error. So you mean that I just make something completely stupid, right? So for example, this. Here we go. The getter I isn't defined for class about blah. Okay, we get a lot of text, but still it would actually help us, or I think a custom user or someone would understand that he made a mistake here. To be honest, I'm pretty happy with that at the moment. Yeah. So the last, yeah. Okay, one more thing that I don't like is at the moment I have to add all the different tests myself. I don't know how we could do that. So I would like to have all the methods and would like to call them by a loop, that I don't have to create them myself, that I just say, okay, there is a class about asserts and all the different methods inside I want to call. And there I'm not sure if this is even possible in Dart. So about asserts is a class, right? But can I get all of them, all methods of a class? Dart, all methods of a class. Let's see if this... I think that was possible in Java, but yeah, reflection. But I'm not sure if Dart has reflection. Ooh, it exists. Okay, perfect. So there is also a package for that. Class mirror. A class reflects a Dart language class. Interest value is a subset of a reflection by which a running program can examine its own structure. For example, a function that prints out the name of all the members of arbitrary objects. Exactly what we want, right? The introspection. And how to interpret this libraries document? Yeah, okay. Status unstable, perfect. IT next. Reflectable Dart package. This provides a reflection which may be tailored to cover certain reflecting features and omit others. Reducing the resource requirement at runtime. Okay. New A, okay, instance mirror, reflector, reflect X, which is A. Method name, weekday, greater, less, instance, invoke, method name, free. Yeah, I think that would be the solution, right? That would be pretty awesome if we have something like that. We have a build runner, but yeah. But anyway, I think I would like to try that. In the worst case, we don't get exactly what we want. Returns a map of methods, getter and setter of an instance of a class. That sounds exactly what we want. So we want to have this class mirror. And this is anyway part of the Dart library itself. So that would be fantastic if we can use that. So inside of here, we import the Dart mirror. And now we would create a class mirror. See, that is a class mirror. No, it's not a class mirror. Ah, it's an abstract class. Okay, cool. Reflect the Dart class mirror. Okay, I've never worked with the reflections, so if I make something wrong again. So implementation is type mirror and object mirror. Function implementers are function type mirror. The type of a function, okay. We want to have the object mirror most likely. So we go here and have an object mirror. And if I jump here inside, it's also abstract, jeez. Then we want to have the class mirror most likely. And super interface of instance, class mirror, library mirror that represents their shared functionality. For the purpose of the mirrors library, these types are all object-like in that they support method invocation and field access. Yes, okay, so let's try that. We take the class mirror, implements object, make your own. So I need my own wrapper. Wait. How to work with these mirrors? Interesting. So, okay, all right. So this one will implement a class mirror. And now we have to, wow. Do we really have implements, or is it then extends? I don't want to implement all the 29 overrides. That would be a bit too much, I think. Get fields has reflected, invoke is abstract is enum, geez. Where are we? Okay. Class mirror example. Let's see. Where we are. That's not the solution that I search for. Is there maybe an example here? No. So let's see, we have here from Jeremy Opong a possibility. What has he created? Reflect endpoint. What is reflect? Is it a class? So this seems not to work. We can't, unfortunately. On the other hand, we could implement everything of that, but still it feels a bit weird, or that we have to do all that. reflect t would be then our about asserts, right? What does it do? It creates us an instance mirror of a dynamic, reflects an instance, returns an instance mirror. If reflect t is a function or an instance of a class that has a call method, that returned instance mirror will be a closure mirror. Okay, so we are doing crazy stuff today. Okay, reflects a class declaration. Okay, so there is a class, reflect class. Let's do this. I think that's much better. So reflect class, we have that. Now we have a class mirror. So for example, C. And now we can have c.new instance, superclass, c.get field. The getter can be explicitly getter for a field or gather methods. Yes, exactly. That is exactly what we found. Perfect, James. So that is perfect timing. So we found the solution at the same time. And now with that class mirror, we have access to get fields, declarations, instance members, returns a map of function methods, getters and setters. So that sounds more or less like what we want, the instance members. Because then we can also call them, right? That is pretty cool. I'm just running once around the whole thing just to see if I see everything, but I think instance members is what we want. So this is a map of something. This is about assert methods, and this will be the instance members. Can we see once more what a map this will be? Symbol to method mirror. Okay, makes sense. Oops, I just add that here that I will not miss that. About assert methods will now have a symbol. What is a symbol? Symbol, opaque name used by mirrors, invocation, function, apply. The symbol corresponds to the name of the unarius minus operator. Okay. What I will do now is I print the about assert methods, the first one, just to see, or better, about assert methods for each. And now I want to just print different keys and the different values. And what I will do is make a nice little string that I can see all of them. And the value will be the value here. So, and now let's run something. Ah, yeah, right, I have to. So, cool. What do we see here? We see equal hashcode, should expect true, and compare values to each other. So they exist, actually, the symbols. It is pretty crazy that we get all the parent information also, like runtime, no such method, and so on and so forth. So it would be good that we have something that makes it unique for the different things. So we have to start with something that we can remove all the others, right? How could we do that? So that would mean that inside of our chapters, instead of having a name that we would like to have, like for example, should expect true, it should be maybe starting with something that we can agree on. So for example, but is that a good solution? Is that the only possibility? Let's have a look. Method mirror on, method mirror on. Okay. About assert methods, yeah. But I think that's perfect, right? We get all the methods that we want. And if we have now a name convention, so for example, if we would start all our methods with a certain word, for example, so I can rename symbol. So for example, we make a Koan should expect true or something. Not sure about that yet, but let's see. Rename symbol, and I give Koan underline of that. Yeah, now that one is a bit failing. No. Ah, this is still the watcher. Okay. We can take a look into it. I don't know. So do you mean that method mirror will have a return type for the reflectee, the source code for the reflectee, a list of mirrors of parameters? We have is static, is abstract, is synthetic. Is synthetic and return false otherwise. Is regular method sounds good. A function or method is regular if it is not a getter, not a setter, or a constructor. Okay, but that would maybe lead still to different things. Constructor name is constructor, generative, redirect constructor, extension method. Okay, so we can try that. So we say that for each that we get here, right, we have the value, and the value is our method mirror, right? So this is a method. I don't have to write that, but we know that the value is our mirror, and inside of here we have something like is create an extension. And an extension from what exactly? Is there an extension? You mean an extension for the about assert class, and then we have all our functions in that extension, so we could just take the extensions methods outside of that. Yeah, we could do that, absolutely. So good, that brings me to the next topic. How can I create an extension? This is the first time I will use extension methods in Dart. So let's have a look what we can do here. Int parse int, okay. We write extension and then on the class that we want to use. So extension on. So we would, for example, write it above that we have here extension tests or number parsing on string. Okay. How would we name our extension? Yeah, James, that's perfect. I like that. It's just, how should I say? I'm very working on that things. And I like that we do some difficult stuff at the moment, because Flutter is always very nice to work with, you know, then you go by every step, and this is something completely new in every direction. So I think a lot of us will really work hard on that. That's cool. So let me think. We have about asserts. If we have extension here, we could have the asserts inside on about assert. So something like this, if I'm not wrong. Is it not working like that? Extension, number parsing on. And now we could have anything on that, right? So we could have, for example, that assert here could be in our extension. No? Extension. This requires the extension methods experiment to be enabled. Try enabling this experiment by adding the command line Dart experiment. Jeez. Okay, I didn't know that I have to activate that somehow. So this requires the extension methods experiment to be enabled. Okay. So let's see how we can enable this. You can enable the feature increasing your Dart version in pubspec.yaml. That sounds like the easiest way. So let's increase that. So go to 2.6. Okay. Still not happy about it. And this one is also complaining now. About asserts is already defined. Extension on in duration seconds, 20 seconds. This is the class, so extension on the class. I thought I'd do that here correctly, but somehow let's create an own folder for that I call now extensions. And here inside we have the assert extension .dart, just to get rid of some errors here. Functions must have an explicit type of This requires the extension methods experiment to be enabled. Try enabling this experiment by adding it in the command line when compiling and running. Dart not enabled. I didn't thought that I have to do that actually. Okay, what is the else explaining and enabling? Okay, and analysis options is the problem. So here inside, is it in the just basic down here? Okay, let's try it. Still complaining. What am I doing wrong here? Does that have to be inside of our class that is already existent? No, makes no sense, because if we want to override integer, it should work like that. So extension on int, and then we would do something. So for example, duration or something like he does. Extension on int, and then he writes his method inside. So duration seconds would be something. Yes, so up, and that would be duration seconds this. At least he explains that like this. But the problem is it's still complaining about undefined class. Is this now a VSC problem or? It's part of the analyzer. Run Flutter upgrade, I've done that already. SDK version increasement, I've done that already. Maybe. Weird. Okay, yeah, exactly. That is a good option. Let's restart Visual Studio. I think that is exactly what we want to do. In the meantime, if you have time and you like that till now, please give it a like, right? So I have to do that, sorry for that. So, here we go, extensions working, easy. So about asserts, right? So this is the thing that we want to override. So this one here is here. I will put that here inside, just that we don't have to import anything. And now we can have extension methods. So for example, we could have, oh no, I've lost my initial test, but that's fine. Just take this one, put that here. And because we have now an extension method, we could check on the reflection that we created, not this one. This will be now also interesting, right? Because now I have to make about assertion. How would I? So if I have var t about assertion, no, about asserts, then we have t dot, no. I thought that would work now that I say t then and can access the methods down in the extension, but somehow it doesn't work like that. Is the extension method not like this? I thought exactly this is what it's for. So we have that int, we write the int, which is just a representation of it, and then we have the method. Extension of, we have the method, and we do something, and then maybe it is just because that is not understanding it, but that's okay for now. We'll not remove too much here. Keep that for now. And just comment that out. Cool. And let's print them once more, just to see what we have now. And if, that was too early. Because what I want to do is I want to check if there is extension member. So if we print this, maybe we can access the extension member here. And we see now some information. So we should see false, 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 but we don't have the method anymore. So, yes, I think I do that, right? So I am taking the value, which is the method mirror, and then I check for the extension methods. The issue here is that we don't get the extension methods at the moment, so I can filter that actually. So instead of for each, I would make something like where. Oh, can't even do that. Okay. I thought there is a filter possibility, but maybe because of the map, it's not possible. No, we can just map it. So okay, but that's fine. Interesting, or more interesting, is that we lose all the functions now. So the extension does not work for us here. The question is why. We say the extensions are working on about asserts, but they are empty now. I don't know. But this seems to be odd. I'm pretty sure that should work. But now we get at least the method here. Method mirror on. Okay, so but we get false. What I would like to try is there was another check that I can use, and that is regular method. And with that I can just check if this is a real method here. If I save now, we get a true here. But we also get a true on no such method, and also on the equal question. I thought the extension would be a perfect solution for that. I don't understand. We have the extension on and we call that. This might be too verbose, yeah, I think that's fine for this. TT on list. Okay, let us check here once more. So we have that for string, but can we do it also for ourselves? Int parse returns something, okay. Static types and dynamic. We can have dynamics, okay. API conflicts. Hide, yeah, that makes sense. Extension on type. And then the member definition. It was correct, or? Okay, let's have another look. So we have extension on about assert. And we can create that inside of our own file again, about asserts extensions.dart. And inside of here we have, for example, I don't know, print assert, just that we get something, print this. So, and now of course we have to import the asserts, I think. I import chapter 1, yep, this one. So fair enough, but as you can see, in our watcher, we unfortunately don't get it. So is extension member is not there. Clear at all contains value. Removes all entry of this mid that satisfies the given predicate. Okay, so value dot is extension member, and then we make a false of that. And now for each, What do we get back from remove where is void? Ah, okay, so we have to do that twice, and now we have no. Okay, so we have methods. Yep. And now we can print or methods dot for e. Why is it not working anymore? Remove where? I thought with that I remove all the options, but I get void back, so I need the list, of course, back. So methods dot for each that is left, we print the key. Yep. And the value. Yep. Value. Okay, so let's have a look. Because with that remove where, we remove now all that are not an extension member. And this was the correct one, right? Is an extension method, yes. So with that, we know now that these are not extension methods, and now we can for each and printing them just. So we reduce our amount of stuff that we have to check. Whew, cannot modify an unmodifiable map. Okay, that is also okay, so we can't do that, so we leave it. Sad. But what I can do is then we just do it here inside. So if value is extension member, then we print it, else we don't mind. So let's see if this is better. Yeah, okay, so we don't print it and it's not part of it. What is going on? Am I completely confused? I thought that should work with the extension methods, but it seems not to work in that case. Okay, anyway, then this is not the solution for us today, and I don't want to waste too much time on that, especially because I'm not so firm with it, but I like to try it. I'm sorry for that, but maybe you have a new idea, then we can try that once more. Okay, so we have our map with the method mirror and the different methods, and what we can do is we can just check against, for example, the key. And inside of the key, we just check if it contains, wait, the key is not a string, right? The key is just a symbol. Can we actually get something from a symbol? So symbol key, I think. So what is a key now? To string, do I get then the string from it? Let's see. Yep. No, I doubt it. Or print key string. Can I get from the value the name? So print value dot method name or qualified simple name, language entity, qualified name, the full quantity entity. For instance, the qualified name of a method in class in library is library.class.method. No, I think the simple name would be much way enough. So let's see if I can print that one. The watch is watching. We change something in here, and we get still the symbols. What is going on? So this one is running, yeah, here's nothing new, but here in the runner, it reflect class. We get this about methods. This is not necessary. We can just do this. Okay. We saved everything. The simple name is a string, or? Oh no, it's a symbol. Okay, that makes sense. So this is not a string, this is a symbol, so toString. And it will also not help. So we have always a symbol for that. So can we check, what can we do with a symbol? I think that is absolutely useless for our case. So this is a string now, so we could check here inside, or we could trim. No, trim is not the right thing, but we can just say contains, and then we just check for the Koan in that case. Koan underline. So if this is containing, then we do something. This is now a true or false. I think what we can do is, instead of doing this, we use that as an if statement. So take that out, say if. Now we can do something like print key. Key. And value. Remove this and take a look. Yep, we change something and here we go. So we get exactly once the thing. So with that we can at least qualify our different methods by the naming. But the problem would be that we have to make sure that we have always Koans in front. And now the next step would be that we execute this method, right? So instead of having this try catch like here, we would then have, I think I can take that inside. And what we would do is inside of here, we would have, yeah, that's the question. Can we call that now easily? So for each element that we have, we would execute the method, or at least this would be our wish to just call that somehow. So wait, I have a documentation about that topic, so maybe the class mirror. Exactly, we have a class mirror and now we want to call something there. So instance members returns a map of methods. Yep. Static members, superclasses, interfaces, okay. And now we have a method mirror, right? So method mirror. And this one is extension member, has this all these is parts, but we can't call it. Can we call a class? I thought I saw somewhere the method that we can use. I'm pretty sure about that. So can we say something like about assert and apply or something? No. How did we get the reflect class? So if we have that class, can we do something like apply or run? Type static set field to string owner original declaration invoke, and then the member name, and the member name is a symbol. So the member name would be in that case the key. So and the positional arguments would be nothing, right? Because we don't have any method with an argument, so just null. Okay. And now with that we would say please invoke all the different keys here inside and print out the right line. Okay, so let's try that. We save. Okay, what happened here? So error happens, that is good. We still make our printer. We have a receiver and tried calling length. That is interesting. Receiver of null, okay. The getter length was called on null. So C invoke, why is positional arguments list dynamic? Okay, so it's just an empty list. Fair enough. He should get what he wants, so that's fine. And now we save once more. We get our error. Is that the correct error? No such method error. No static method Koan. Or does it have to be static now? That would be a shame, but why not? Can have that if we want. So the invoke is only working on a static method. Is that correct? The object reflect by its mirror. Let f be the simple name of the member. Invoke the value. Which value? The value is the method name itself. I don't know. I was sure that because it is a symbol, that is just a name that we have to invoke, or? And the name is already in key inside. So if we take a look here, we see the symbol is already Koan compare values with each other because of that if statement that we wrote before. So we make the safety check already, and then we run into it. And we just invoke it with an empty thing. At least I think that. I can just imagine that this invoke is just working on a static method at the moment. So we can't, yeah. Or can we invoke something on an instance? I don't think so. Hey, Xaxababa, how are you? I think the last time when I saw your comment was at one of the live streams that I made for Dart learning, right? Where where I've made a lot of mistakes. It was very sad. Okay, so what do we have here? If we have now this, and I can have that chapter, and I change here something, we modify the one, and now it works, actually. The question is now, this one is now true, so let's destroy that. Now, sure, I remember all my comments that I get so far. They are not so much, so I'm pretty impressed how good everything works out at the moment. So, that is not working. That is not working. So perfect. Nothing was working anymore. I thought the reflection would be a perfect idea for the whole problem, that we don't have to do all these things all the time. But now I'm not that sure anymore. I think I have to take more thinking about that. New instance. So I can create an instance out of a mirror. But why should I do that? So constructor name, positional arguments. And what I would do with that, delegate. Crazy stuff. Constructor name, I don't even understand. Okay, let's say I would have the about asserts, and I would have created that already. And if I jump into about asserts, I would take that static away because it is not static. And here inside, can I not invoke that somehow? I have that method, but I can't. That's a shame. Declaration, new instance. Invokes the named constructor and returns a mirror on the result. So if I create an about asserts here, and the positional arguments would be again an empty list, and now I would add that about assertion. Why is it red? The argument type string can't be assigned to symbol. So that would be a symbol of about assert. And here up here I have to add a new constructor because I'm not sure if this is always existent. So I created an empty one just in case. And with that information reflect, we have the parameters, we create the methods, we have that in place. And now we could have on this a delegate, and the delegate performs an invocation of the reflectee object mirror. Wow. Or an invoke. Invokes the named function and returns a mirror. But this is the same thing that we did before, or not? So invoke we would have that key, and the positional arguments would be empty, and this would return again something. Okay, this is more testing around, so I have no idea, right? So that is a shame. So what happens here? We go here. No constructor. Okay, it doesn't work. Var a about assert, var im reflect a, im invoke method. Yeah, I thought I did exactly that, or not. So we have a var a, which is an about assert, right? And we have a second one, which is the implication, which is a reflection, or better, all right, now we have the instance as a reflectee. Okay, and now you say we can invoke that method, which is the key, right? And without any positional arguments. So let's try if we get something back. We have the watches watching, we check the chapter 1, we save. Method mirror on Koan, error happened, package chapter 1 Dart failed assertion. Oh yeah, perfect. That's amazing. Thank you, Bruce. That works finally. That means we have the instance variables. We need that on the reflectee. This works. Now we can have all the tests running without actually knowing the names. That would mean if I have, for example, a second one, I can remove that too. If I have a second test like we had before, so void Koan about asserts, we would have that. We have a basic assert that says something like false is equal to true, with the hint change false to true. Then we would see the error here. Hint, the expected value seems to be wrong. We get now both. Close enough. The thing is, I would like to, whenever we come into that, I would like to be finished with that method here. I want that the for each is not running through. So for that, I would have like for each. Yeah, I think what we need is like a while loop here that checks all the things inside of that method. Okay. Quite some result today. I like that. So that is pretty cool. So what we have reached now is we can have our Koans. We run that in our own manager spawn. Thanks to Bruce, we managed it now to have the Koans runner, which would run above our asset methods. And at the moment, we just get the errors back, all of them, for every time we run something. So when I'm here in the test runner and I save, we can see we get 2 errors back. And what I also can do is maybe clear the terminal window the next time we're running too. So if I change that to true and save, we see we have 1 error. If I change that one to and make the result working, we don't get any error. So that's pretty cool. It's getting very close to that what I want to achieve. So, and we managed it by a lot of stuff, but unfortunately nothing of my ideas. But that's pretty fair. I'm happy with that. The only thing that I'm not liking at the moment is that we run through all the tests. It would be a bit better if we can stop at a certain amount, right? So we run till the first is failing, and after that we want to stop the for each, so we don't want to go further. So about assert methods has a length, I assume. Give me a second, I have to think. So we can create this one in any case. I am. How would I do that? I can make return a boolean, okay, and that boolean would then lead to a cancel of the for each. The problem or the question is that invocation gives me an instance mirror, right? And what is an instance mirror again? Do I get a return of that, or set field, boop, boop, boop. Type, set field, get field. So the problem that I see if I have that invoke and the instance mirror, where do I get the result back? So invokes the named function and returns a mirror on the result. I get the mirror of the result. So that would be then actually a mirror of Boolean. Wow. Okay, so that's fantastic. We can try that. So if we return a Boolean, which then is not... No, I don't like the idea. The problem is if I return a Boolean, then I have here more code, right? So I would have something like this. And I'm pretty sure this would confuse the developer who starts learning with that Koan. So I would not recommend to do that. Not yet, actually, if we can avoid it. So another option would be that we have like a while loop that checks or goes through all the things. And then whenever it doesn't work anymore, so like while true, we are running through all the different things, and then we're going, we break whenever we are finished. We invoke that. I mean, we're running anyway in the catch block, right? So if the invocation runs into an error, this one happens. Or if I save and if I remove that and I've saved in chapter 1, yeah, so we don't get any error message, right? So we know exactly when it's broken. The question is, how can we jump out of that? Because we can just return, right? So if this is happening, we can just return here because we don't want to go further. So I think that should be fine, right? So if I save, no, I still get both. Because I returned the for each, not the loop. Try. Why do I'm doing this anyway twice? Okay. The watcher is watching. We are here. We change something. Error happened once. It would be fantastic if we have a counter for these errors in the first place. Okay, so what if we save a Boolean variable like is having error is false, and now we say something like while is having error is not error, and we say this is true, and now we are running through, right? So we do all that kind of stuff. And as soon as this happens, is having error is false. Yeah, let's do this and do this, and of course, and about assert method's length. It's a loop, right? Actually, I can just make a for loop at the end and make the check inside, but yeah, both is working, I think. And yeah. Yeah, I need a counter, right? So int counter and is unequal counter plus plus. Voila. So we create a counter, and whenever we come into the loop, we enhance the counter just to make sure that we don't come outside of the length of the list. About length is unequal to counter. Yes. So then it's going further. And the key is not here at the moment. Why? Where's the key going? Ah, yeah, because of the while. So we want to access, instead of the value, we want to access the about. We can keep that, say var value equals to about assert methods, and then we access the counter. So this will be not a counter, this will be more a rename symbol, an index. So let's try that. What is true? Is there something wrong? Ah, yeah, here's still the key. So. Just a second, something is wrong. So the getter key isn't defined in the method mirror. What is value? Value is about assert methods, and this is an instance. So, okay. So we make true equals true again. And the simple name is falling apart because null receiver, okay. What was different to before? Contains Koan. Okay, we get that still. So, and then we invoke. And then we invoke the key, which is just a symbol of that assert. Wait, the value is not... Why is it thinking? Is that not an entry? I thought this is an entry, or even a map entry of... what do we have here? Symbol and method mirror. Right? So with that, why is it red now? Ah, because the index is not accessing the this is accessing the key, not the level where we are. That makes sense. Yeah, because we get the entries, and from the entries we get the index. No? Isn't defined on type iterable. Method, okay, so to list maybe. Yeah, so now we get the first entry, and now we can also say here value dot I think that we have now value, so this one is the entry here, so the value is the name entry, and here we go, and this one is now the key. Voila. Okay, looks promising. We can, yep. I want to comment that here out so that we don't do, or that we don't have too much stuff. And then let's try it again. So the watch is running, we change something in our thing, and we get our error, and it starts to stop at the place where we are. So, and even if I change here, we get still the first error. And if we fix the first error, we're coming to something else. Ah yeah, now I fixed both. That is okay. But now we get the right positions, and we get that right. Cool. Okay, that is our first introduction into Koans and to work with Koans. I hope I can give you an introduction what I want to achieve with the build runner. It would be fantastic if you take a look into the package and maybe give me some hints what I can improve with the issues. And I think in the next part, maybe I will do again the Dart things, or maybe we work again with Flutter. It's completely up to you. On the Saturday episodes, I want to always have like everything a bit, or everything that I'm interested just working on that. So it is just a bit fun coding. else, thank you so much for joining today. It was a fantastic session. I mean, very good. Thank you, James, for your work with us. Bruce, thank you so much. I think we reached a lot of goals today, and that is really good. I think with that we can be happy for now. If you have any recommendations how I can improve myself, always give it to me. And else, thank you for watching and enjoy the rest of your day. See ya.